Bad anime. If you've been watching my channel for a while, then you would know that I've watched my fair share of garbage anime. I've seen actual PowerPoints disguised as anime, an anime movie with a plot so convoluted that you'd need Stephen Hawking to explain it to you, and Dollar Tree Goku at home. And while I've wanted to bash my head into a wall an insurmountable amount of times watching these animes, it's hard to be too angry at these anime simply because I knew they were garbage going into it. But do you want to know what's worse than bad anime? An actual decent anime with a garbage ending. An ending so bad that it literally takes all of the precious seconds you spent watching the episodes before the ending and shoves it right back up your ass and tells you to go fuck yourself. To me, that might just be the worst type of anime. Oh god, I'm getting Game of Thrones flashbacks all of a sudden. Let me introduce to you La Storia Della Arcana Famiglia. Pretentious ass name aside, I absolutely hate this piece of fucking dog shit that's disguised as anime. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why this is my least favorite anime of all time, but I'm gonna warn you here, okay? I am a petty ass bitch. Hello everybody, my name is Leo Hashi and welcome to my very petty rant about my least favorite anime of all time. This story begins all the way back in the year 2012, the year that the Mayans predicted the world would end. And while the world is still here and spinning 13 years later, the Mayans weren't completely wrong, I think. I mean, that was the year this godforsaken anime came out, so during that year, I randomly stumbled across this particular anime called La Storia Della Arcana Famiglia. I thought the art style and character designs were pretty cool, and I decided to check it out. Suddenly, in the first episode, we're introduced to a magical, mafia-like group called the Arcana Famiglia. The head of the family announces a fighting competition within the family, taking place in 2 months in order to determine who will be the next head of the family, as well as marrying his daughter, whatever the shit, wanting to determine her own fate. The episode ends with Felicita choosing to take part in the competition to win her freedom back. Dope, I thought to myself as the first episode ended. Magical mafia family members fighting each other using their unique and special powers? Sign me up for that any day, baby! Cool characters, each coming with unique personalities and different backstories and inner demons that they have to overcome over the course of the series, while we get to see their bonds with each other grow stronger too? Hell yeah, bro! I love that sappy shonen shit. Let's get this bread. And an awesome opening sequence on top of all that? That's as sweet as those disgusting fake-ass plastic maraschino cherries that they put on top of my milkshakes. Oh wow. During the hook of the anime opening, we have that cliche shonen anime opening thing they do where every main character gets to show off their super cool abilities. I might have discovered an underrated gem. This was as ball-busting, nay, even more ball-busting than the first time I had ever found a block of diamond ore in Minecraft. That shit was way harder back in the day, okay? Trust me. I played the Minecraft beta, okay? And as I watched the series, anticipating this epic competition, I started to become attached to each of the characters. And I kept watching, and oh wait, we're done with episode 11? The next episode is the last episode of the series? This epic battle competition still hasn't happened yet? Oh, well, the last episode must be about this amazing competition. I wonder how they're gonna pull this off. They kept teasing this epic competition throughout the 12 episodes that I just watched. Oh, I'm so excited! I'm so fucking excited! Now imagine this, okay? Your school hypes up a field trip you're gonna be going on in 2 months. You're so excited that you'll tolerate anything that comes your way. But when the day of the field trip arrives, you get there, and instead of having fun, your teacher straps you down into a fucking chair and forces you to watch a PowerPoint presentation about covalent bonds or ionic bonds or whatever the fuck we learned in chemistry class. And after that PowerPoint, you get up and you go back to the bus and you're taken back to school, wondering to yourself when the real field trip is going to begin. Unfortunately though, it's already night and you're already back home getting ready for the next day of school. And that was my experience with the show. The incredibly hyped up competition that was pretty much the entire premise of the series basically turned out to be a garbage slideshow. After the ending credits started to roll, all I could think to myself was, wait, what? That was it? What the fuck was that? A PowerPoint? No fucking way, they made the entire competition in Google Slides and gave us quite possibly one of the most garbage, smelliest, most gunky, disgusting endings possible, right? Oh, they didn't just waste my fucking time watching this entire anime only to rug pull all of my hopes and dreams out from under my nose like Logan Paul or Hawk to a Girl did with their audience's money, right? It was kind of like Dream's face reveal, where literally everyone who saw his face hyped him up to be like Minecraft's Jungkook or some shit, only to reveal the face that's had its angle memed into oblivion. Okay, let's pause the tragic backstory here and let me tell you all about La Storia Della Arcana Famiglia. In the first episode, we're introduced to an island named Regalo and its vigilante protectors known as the Arcana Famiglia, a magical mafia-like group that protects the island from harm. The members of this group each possess a special power known as Arcana, a power that is gained by forming a contract with a mystical card deck known as the Tarocco. Mondo, the head of the family, announces his retirement and that a successor to his position will be decided in an epic competition taking place in 2 months, where members of the family will fight each other in order to decide the future of the family's fate. Mondo also announces that the next head of the family will be getting married to his only daughter, Felicita, who is the protagonist of this anime. The episode ends with Felicita choosing to win her freedom back by taking part in the competition. Now let me introduce to you to some of our wonderful characters. Felicita, the main character whose name I will never pronounce correctly, is the daughter of the head of the family. And that's honestly the extent of what I could describe her character as. She's honestly a bit dry, and I'm 99.9% sure that she's a basic ass blank piece of paper ass self-insert character, and she feels more like a plot device rather than an actual character. But that might have something to do with the fact that this anime is an adaptation of a video game and she's the playable character, but we'll talk about that a little later, okay? Either way, she's boring as shit. She has a contract with the 6th card in the Tarocco called the Lovers. It's an ability that lets her pierce and see through one's innermost thoughts. She also has another super cool secret power that's brought up later on in the story, but we'll get back to that later. Then we have the other members of the Arcana Famiglia. Liberta! Liberta, whatever, is the loud and sort of generic shonen character who's like that lovable idiot who has like 2 brain cells. Behind his loud and childish personality is a traumatic childhood that left him unable to use his Arcana power at will. He has a contract with the Fool card from the Tarocco, which is known as card number 0. Nova is a very serious and strict tsundere character who is allergic to being honest about his emotions to the point where he might actually need to carry around an EpiPen. He has a contract with the 13th card of the Tarocco, known as Death, and with this power he had put his parents to an eternal sleep when he became enraged at them for using him as a tool to gain power. Then there's the young adult trio of childhood friends. First is Debito, a cheeky and carefree young man who is kind of a womanizer and a flirt, and low-key he's kind of a creep. He has a contract with the 9th card in the Tarocco, known as the Hermit. Then we have Pace, a loud man whose main personality trait is food in all caps, but he's also quite introspective and attuned to people's emotions, prioritizing good vibes over all else. Food and good vibes, a man after my own heart. He has a contract with the 11th card in the Tarocco, known as Strength. Then there's Luca, a responsible and mature man who was assigned as Felicita's attendant from a young age, and as a result has become overprotective of her to the point where other family members might tease him by calling him a quote-unquote stalker, which sounds healthy. Yep, healthy. He has a contract with the 14th card in the Tarocco, known as Temperance. We also have the more senior members of the Arcana Famiglia. Daddy Dante is the executive head of the Arcana Famiglia and Liberta's father figure. He rescued Liberta when he was very young and helped guide him through his trauma and life in general. And no, the daddy part of his name is not canon. I just have a thing for middle-aged bald men with a tough exterior and a kind heart, okay? There's also Jolly, the family advisor, who spends every moment in the show acting as sus as possible. He spends most of his time alone in his laboratory conducting alchemy experiments, whatever the f that means. He's basically just a complete menace. He's this show's version of the saying, if evil, then why hide? Mondo is the head of the Arcana Famiglia and Felicita's father, and although he seems to be a cold-hearted and tough leader figure, he's actually a giant softie inside. He has a contract with the 21st card in the Tarocco, known as the World. Unfortunately, it's not the World. Sumire is the family's fortune teller and Mondo's wife, as well as Felicita's mother. As you can see here, we've got a pretty decked out mafia tree of get it? Each character has their own unique quirks and personalities and their own little story arc that makes them even more interesting too. Liberta's traumatic past as a human experiment continues to haunt him throughout the series until he's able to accept it and move on from it with the help from those around him, especially Daddy Dante. Nova, having a terminal case of tsundere because of his broken relationship with his parents, pushes everyone else away, but through the course of the series learns to open up and trust the people important to him, and even volunteers to awaken his parents from their eternal sleep. Dabito, Pace, and Luca all have a shared traumatic past where they were actually experimented on by Jolly as kids, resulting in the 3 having a Tarocco contract being forced upon them. While extremely morally questionable, Jolly actually did this because Mondo's Tarocco, the World, has an unfortunate side effect where all of the other cards that don't have a host survive off of the the energy of the host of the world. This means that Mondo's power is constantly being drained to the point where it could actually threaten his life. And Jolly, desperate to keep Mondo alive, subjugated these children to forced contracts in order to prolong Mondo's life. During the latter half of the series, it's revealed that the reason why Mondo decided to have this competition was because he was going to die very soon as a result of the unfortunate side effect of his Taroko card. He also wanted the next head of the family to marry Felicita in order to protect her. Desperate to save her father, Felicita is given information by Jolly about her second secret Taroko contract with the 10th card of the Taroko, known as the Wheel of Fortune. It's a power that directly affects the relationship between an individual and their arcana, reversing any harmful effect that the Taroko might cause to the person it's contracted to. Knowing that she could save her father, Felicita rushes to use this power on him. However, Jolly purposefully didn't tell her the consequences of this power, which is that she would end up losing all of her memories if she used it. Felicita is found without any of her memories left. Everyone is angry at Jolly as they found out what had just happened, but it also turns out that Jolly is the only one that could potentially bring her memories back using his arcana power. He goes into Felicita's subconscious to bring her back, but realizes that it might have been too late. Mondo then appears to help him, but then he begins to cough blood in the process. The two seemingly are going to lose Felicita when suddenly Liberta and Nova appear to save the day. Felicita gains her memories back and everything is fine and dandy again. Just kidding. Felicita then overhears Jolly talking about the truth that her attempt to save Mondo's life actually had failed, which basically meant that this whole stupid ass story arc not only made no sense because is Jolly evil or is he the savior? Like, what the fuck is he doing? Why is everyone begging him to save her and saying thanks to him when he was also the one that instigated this entire arc on purpose anyways? And in the end, it was mostly pointless. So anyways, one night Felicita then is able to hear the voice of her main Taroko, the lovers. The voice tells her that she must fall in love in order to activate the true power, but basically it's like, oh my god, I have to either fall in love with Liberta or Nova in order to activate the final power that will save my father's life. So that's basically the first 11 episodes of the series. Then you watch the last episode of this anime, and the creators of this anime just take all of this really cool, really interesting stuff, douse it in gasoline, and set fire to the entire fucking thing while menacingly laughing at your dumbass who just wasted a bunch of his time and energy watching this fucking show. All of these detailed explanations about the Taroko cards, or the interesting and tragic backstories of the characters, or the family tension that was built up throughout the entire anime, or the energy you spent anticipating this awesome epic competition that will literally shape the entire future of this fucking family, none of it matters. Might as well take all of it and shove it up your ass because none of it fucking matters. None of it matters. I'm about to give you a play-by-play of the last episode. Mondo announces the start of the competition, and we have these three fucking announcers that just narrate the entire competition for us like some sort of shitty recap episode that, you know, shows sometimes do. We go through every character having like a frame of animation where they beat up some random NPC and everyone's cheering in the background, and the announcers are like, oh, the winner is the Red Witch of Regalio, Felicita, as they do like a single frame shot of the characters' faces, and that's like literally the entire fucking battle. And then we move on to the next character where a similar shitty 1 second animation of the character beating up an NPC is shown, and the same annoying ass announcement of, oh, the winner is the epic samurai swordsman Nova. Maybe I'm being a little too petty, but listen to this, okay? Debito uses his powers to turn invisible, okay? Which is cool. The NPC starts looking around like he's like, oh my god, where is he? He's gone. Meanwhile, Debito takes 2 fucking steps forward and pulls out his gun, and this epic battle just ends there. What is that lame ass shit? You took 2 invisible steps forward. What a fucking battle. Oh my god. I watched 12 fucking episodes of this damn show to have this bitch disappear and take 2 steps forward, and you're telling me that this is the competition that was hyped up to be some kind of insane life-changing event? Suck my ass, you dipshit! After the lame-ass preliminary battles, we then see the older trio of Debito, Pache, and Luca each face off against Felicita. All 3 of them have some kind of like epic speech where they're like, I won't lose just like that even though you're the daughter of the family. I won't go easy on you. But literally as the battle is about to begin, the anime just suddenly cuts to a singular frame shot of them just moping in a dark corner of the tournament venue because they just lost. Which sure is funny, but it's also extremely annoying to not see literally any of the fucking battle at all when I had just spent 12 fucking episodes anticipating this event in the first place. Miss me with that bullshit, okay? Then Jolly comes along and tells them, do you know why you 3 lost? And the 3 are like, nope. And then Debito's like, oh my god, is it because her dad is still dying and her powers didn't actually save his life? And Jolly is like, that's right. And the three are like, oh man, her will to save her dad was so strong that we just got our asses destroyed in less than one frame of animation. And I'm just sitting there watching this all unfold in just absolute awe. I'm just appalled at the audacity of this bullshit. Then Libertà beats Dante in like 2 frames while resolving his entire story arc in like 2 seconds. And then Nova beats Sumire in a tournament while resolving his entire story arc in like 2 seconds. But we don't actually see any of these story arcs get resolved. They just tell us that they're resolved. Like, oh, by the way, you didn't see any of it, right? But their story arcs, you know, the one you just spent like the past few hours watching and getting invested into? Oh yeah, they were resolved in the background. And we're just updating you right now. Like, excuse me? Oh, then we get the duel of a lifetime, you know, the one that's been teased throughout the entire series. Libertà versus Nova. Oh my god, their powers are so equal that they're fighting until afternoon. Except again, we don't see like 99.9% of the fight. And the parts we do see are basically as insignificant as the 0.1% of germs that hand sanitizers are unable to kill. Then they both activate their Arcana powers that suddenly became stronger because of their plot points that were resolved in the background. As they're doing this epic clash, we get a flash to white. Then suddenly, they wake up to find out that their powers were so equal that they both fainted and the fight ended in a fucking draw. Wow, what a pointless waste of my time. And then we get to see the conclusion where Felicita's dueling her father, but her father's clearly getting closer to dying. Felicita then realizes that she shouldn't be trying to fall in love with someone in order to save her father, but she should be focusing on what's the most important thing to her at the moment, which is to save her father's life. She apologizes to her father for focusing on the wrong thing, and this realization then allows for her to activate her complete full Toroko power, which leads to saving her father's life. Felicita's marriage is then cancelled as she ends up being the winner of this competition, and she wishes that her father would continue to lead the family as long as he is healthy. The story ends with Mondo becoming even more overprotective of his daughter, challenging anyone who wants to marry her to beat him in a battle. And everything's all good. We got a happy, goofy ending where it's almost as if nothing really changed in the end except that you, as a viewer, are a few hours closer to your death. Hello? Can you do me a favor and, well, miss me with an absolute bullshit? Are you kidding me? This has to be a joke. This is the most dog shit ass, bullshit ass cop-out of an ending. This episode takes everything that you just wasted and shoves it down a fucking meat grinder and minces it into absolute nothingness. Literally all of the things that I just took so much damn time to describe to you about this show, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Might as well just go fuck yourself at this point, because that's what I did, you know? I fucked myself by watching this stupid show and expecting anything from it. The reason why I described so much of this show in so much detail to you is to hopefully give you a similar experience to what I felt back when I first watched this show in 2012. There is so much interesting stuff here, and none of it matters. Forget about all of it. Who gives a shit? Whatever. Sorry, Anime Studio, okay? I'm not a fucking Microsoft PowerPoint sexual, so I don't enjoy getting off to slideshows, okay? Maybe you guys do, but I don't, okay? Let's do some math, okay? An average episode of this anime is around 23 minutes. With 13 episodes, that makes around 299 minutes. The average human lifespan is 72 years, which in minutes is equal to 37,843,200 minutes. Now, if we divide 299 by 37,843,200, we get 0.00000790102, or around 0.000079%. What I'm trying to tell you here is, assuming that I live up to 72 years old, this show wasted 0.00079% of that precious lifespan of 72 years, which might not seem like much, but a minute is 0.0000026% of 72 years. So compare those two and you might come to the conclusion that all this makes absolutely no fucking sense. I'm just trying to tell you that this show is a waste of my damn time, okay? Well, actually, I watched this show again for the sake of this video, so it actually wasted 0.00158% of my lifespan instead. Okay, anyway, this whole show just feels like a whole lot of missed opportunities for me. Genuinely, I think the characters were pretty interesting. The show even had a cool power system like every other shonen anime in the form of the Taroko cards, where everyone would have a unique contract with a card and would be given cool powers that were all teased throughout the show. But in the end, this power system might as well be a fucking fart in the wind, because they never explain what these powers actually do, but only give us vague ass names and teasers of it. They're always like, oh, be careful of his Arcana power. Oh, your Arcana power is the only thing that can save this person, without actually telling us what any of this fucking powers do? And while the characters sometimes did act very creepily towards Felicita, who is 16, and it would be very cringe, like Jolly, a man in his 40s, being like, oh, the thought of Felicita being my wife gives me chills. Or Debito, a man in his mid-20s, calling Felicita Bambina in this like weird, almost suggestive tone for the entire show, or asking her to let's have a more adult-like fun time together, or you know, like whatever, constantly throughout the show. But I could chalk all this up to the fact that this anime was based on a video game made in Japan, but not just any video game. Oh no. Arcana Famiglia is actually an otome game. What is an otome game, you might ask? Well, it's a story-based romance video game mainly for female players that features a female protagonist. And it makes sense too. Felicita was super duper bland, like a pink piece of chalk throughout the entire show. But that's because she's the player character and therefore is meant to be a self-insert. At least in the fucking game where you actually make the decisions for yourself rather than whatever the anime studio decides to shove down your gullet. And the focus was on all of the dudes and their personalities, their backstories. All of it makes sense when you frame it in the way of what this anime actually was based off of. The anime story is basically the game's story told to us in animation form, but without any of the actual choices, which to me just feels really pointless. But hey, they made anime of games like Persona 5, and I heard those weren't really that good either, but they keep making this kind of anime for some reason. I mean, maybe it just makes dollar bills, who knows. And I won't talk too much about the game itself, mostly because I don't really have any experience or knowledge about the game, but this would explain a lot about why the anime itself is so dog shit. It's hard to portray a story that's originally very choice dependent in a linear way that tries to satisfy every choice you can make in the game. It also explains a lot of why Debito, who is again a man in his 20s, is constantly flirting with Felicita, who is 16 throughout the show. Like, if you really want to get technical, right? Because the age of consent is 16 in Japan, it is legal for Debito to be flirting with Felicita. But the age gaps between these characters still manage to set off a few red flags in my mind. But anyway, this isn't even really why I hate this damn show, but it does not make it any better in my eyes. So if the terrible ending of the show could be explained by the fact that it's based on an otome game, then why do I personally hate it so much? Well, it's mostly because I'm a petty bitch, okay? Back in 2012, as a dumbass middle schooler, I didn't really know how to Google search, didn't really care to research things. I just wanted to watch move on the screen. And at first glance, I feel like if you didn't know anything about Arcana Famiglia, you can't really be blamed for mistaking the genre of this show. You cannot look at this and tell me, oh, it's a show based on a game for girls to romantically date these 2D men. So yeah, maybe my dumbass looked at this anime and went, I wonder if it's a shonen anime of some kind. And then you begin watching the show, then you get this fire opening, and you see the typical shonen anime opening thing with the characters all showing off their cool abilities that they use for fighting. The entire first episode of the show is basically just packaged as a shonen anime, and if you didn't know any better like me, it was really easy to eat it all up as another shonen anime. You get a really shitty ending where everything is resolved behind the scenes out of plot convenience and a fucking slideshow to accompany that, like a goddamn corporate company-wide Zoom meeting. What a waste of my time! We didn't even get like any romantic developments or conclusions either. At least, right, at the very basic bottom line, it's supposed to be a harem, but the harem doesn't even go anywhere. So what's the point? What is the point? I don't even like harem anime, but at least do something with it, right? Am I mad that I didn't Google any of it? Sure, but whatever. It's not my fault this anime decided to clickbait my ass, okay? Here's the real tea. This anime is actually not really that bad at all, which is why the ending makes it all that worse. Because to me, the worst thing a piece of media could do in the end is waste my damn time. Even badly rated animes that I've seen didn't really feel like a waste of time, because at least I could share my experience with you guys and we can all laugh as we take a massive collective on these bad animes. But Arcana Famiglia was genuinely a waste of my time because the bad parts of it aren't funny or laughable, but it genuinely just brought down the overall series in a way that just leaves an awful taste in my mouth. No, the show didn't really commit any terrible crime, but it truly wasted my time, and for that reason and all the other petty ass reasons I just mentioned to you throughout this video, La Storia Della Arcana Famiglia is my personal least favorite anime of all time. Yeah, like the title said, this is very petty. Anyways, that's it for this video though. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe for more anime content, and I'll see you in the next video that I decide to make. Peace out, y'all.